Hey Village, it's your girl LaTonia Monroe Naylor, your mission rich business consultant, and I'm here to remind you that your mission is more than just a dream. It's a movement. Every great success starts with a story, and today we're diving deep into how we turn purpose into impact and passion into profit. So grab your tea, your notebook, or just your energy, and let's build this legacy together. Okay? So, first of all, I want to acknowledge my mug. Hello. Y'all know I got a mug every single week. Tea and Talk, you got to have a mug. So, my mug for this week is my daughter said, Mom, make sure you point to the right side. So, I didn't. But oh well. Nobody has to know. Okay, everybody knows this watching this. But at any rate, so today's mug is Queen of Everything. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a queen of everything. I'm saying that because you're a queen or king of whatever it is that you need to be doing as well. So when we walk into confidence of knowing who we are, then it's so much easier for us to accomplish the things in life that we believe that we were put here to accomplish. Okay? So that is not what I want to talk about today, though. What I want to talk about today is something that we all say. I don't have time. Notice the question marks. I don't have time. The reason why I'm saying it that way is because I want you to think about it. Do you or do you not have time? Because a lot of times we say we don't have time for things, but the reality is that we all have the same hours, minutes, and seconds in the week, in a month, in a year. And although it's a gift for however long we're able to be here to pursue the dreams or the purpose that we were called to walk out, the reality is that we all still have the same amount of time to get it done in this space of time. Okay. And so what I'm saying is that if one individual can in a week get, I don't know, 14 things done in their checklist, then you should be able to get at least 4 things done in your checklist. Because we all have the same amount of time, right? We all have time that's been provided to us. And so what I want you to really do in this next few minutes that I have with you is to really sit down and think about, what are you doing with your time? And better yet, I want you to ask yourself a question. Are you being a steward of your time? Now, a steward is someone who manages or oversees something. And when you're in the process of managing or overseeing, you have to be mindful and careful about what it is that you are doing. You have to take care and concern. You have to strategize. You have to plan. Because if you are responsible for something and there's another individual that is looking to hold you accountable for it, they want to know that you did the very best that you could to make sure that you maximize whatever that thing was that you were in charge of, that you were left to be a steward over, right? So if it's money, if it's a business, if it's your family, we all can easily look at those things and say, oh, I know what being a good steward looks like. Like, I know being a good mom and what a good mom is. I have 4 children. They're almost all, they're older teenagers now or young adults. And I remember the days when I was completely overwhelmed and stressed, and I wasn't being a good mom in that moment. I knew I wasn't being a good steward in that moment. Not because I didn't care, not because I didn't want to be, but because maybe I was wore out, maybe I was tired, maybe I hadn't planned properly. So yeah, there were some days, that maybe the hair wasn't done the way I wanted it done that week. It happened. Not all the time. It was very rare. But it happened at times. There were times when we eating cereal for dinner because mom ain't fixing nothing. Mom didn't have time to plan for a good meal. So we eating cereal tonight. That happened. Did it happen a lot? No, it didn't happen a lot. But the reality was that there were moments where I know that I was not being a good steward, that I was not doing things to my level. I know there was times I didn't feel like doing homework with the kids. I didn't feel like checking in to see if they did their essays. I just didn't. Now, I'm not saying that that was a regular thing, because it was not a regular thing. But things happened where, For whatever reason, maybe I was working long days. Maybe I was doing a little bit more than I was used to doing that week or wanted to do that week. Maybe I got sick. Maybe somebody got sick. Maybe something happened that was not in the plan. And for that reason, I didn't follow through on doing the thing that I wanted to do that week. I didn't operate at a level what I would consider to be excellence. Now, again, that didn't make me a bad steward, right? I made sure my kids ate. I made sure that they were clean. I made sure, those things were necessary. Like, we did those things together. My husband and I worked as a team to make sure that those things were done for our children, that they showed up, that they were attending classes regularly, like whatever a good parent is supposed to do. But there's times when things just don't work out the way that we want to. So we have to ask ourselves, right? I can give you that as a very clear example. If there was a day that I did not show up to do the thing that I wanted to do that week for my child, I can tell you exactly why. Because I know why. It was very clear. If I didn't save as much money as I wanted to save and didn't feel like I was being a good steward of my money, I can tell you exactly why. Right? I can identify and pinpoint the thing. It's very easy for us to identify external factors, external responsibilities, and say, well, this is why I came up short. This is why I didn't get that grade in school that I wanted. This is why, I didn't show up, to that event that I wanted to make it to. Because we can look at, okay, these are the things that led up to why this thing happened. But for some reason, when it comes to our time, I'm not talking about us making it to a doctor's appointment on time, or us getting to work on time, or us showing up at a lunch meeting on time. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is maximizing the moments that we have in a day to be able to achieve goals that we know that we are supposed to be working on. And we will sit around and say, we don't have time for this. We don't have time for that. But what are you doing with your time? How are you being managing and responsible for your time? These are real questions that we need to ask ourselves. And the other question that I want you to ask yourself while you're thinking about that is, why are you allowing things to be prioritized that are not a priority? This happens and runs rampant with women, but it does happen with men too. But it runs rampant with women, especially when you're moms, that all of a sudden there's 2 or 3 things you thought you were going to get done with today. And now there's 5 things that you got to do that you didn't know you had to do because your kid needs this, your husband needs that, your mom needs, like, all these people need things. And here you are trying to figure out how to make these things happen for everybody else. And now the things that you should have been prioritizing gets put to the back burner. And now it becomes, it's not a priority anymore. It's not a priority. But it should be a priority. It should be a priority. So we need to ask ourselves, why are we not making time for the things that are priorities for us? Why are we allowing other people's emergencies to become a priority for us? Is the thing that is an emergency for the other person really an emergency? Or is it something they failed to plan for, and now you're responsible for taking care of it because you're responsible and you're good at taking care of things, and now all of a sudden your list of 3 things just turned into 12 things. And most of them are not even your stuff. Now, if that's your mission to help people do that, I ain't talking to you. But most of us, that is not our mission. Most of us, we incur other people's baggage, other people's to do, other people's procrastination that they didn't do, they didn't get done. And now we carry that with us. And now we got to do all of this stuff in our mind. When I say we got to do, just imagine air quotes, okay? Because we don't got to do it. But we do it because we think that's what a part of being nice. I talk about this in my book, Mission Rich and Profit Power. This is one of those sabotage mindsets. You're going over and beyond trying to be a superwoman or superman to people, and it's because you're turning into an enabler because they could do it, but they won't because they know you will. Now, I'm not talking about a real life emergency. Somebody gets sick and ends up in the hospital or something of that nature. I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm not talking about a life-changing situation that happens without warning and people could not have planned for it. I'm not talking about that. What I am talking about today are the things that people can plan for. You know that you have an electric bill that is due. And instead of you putting the money to the side, you decide to go get your nails done. And then now you want somebody to turn around and have to cover your bills and your expenses because you didn't put the money to the side for the bill that you knew you were going to have. And now those of us who feel we got to do it, you decide now you got to go and figure out how to help them pay their bill. That is not a good use of your time. Now, I know people who are in the caring and the loving, because I am that person, like, no kidding me. I want to help people as much as possible. But what I've learned in the latter years of my life is that I am not helping people if I'm doing stuff for them that they should be doing, but I won't allow them to learn that they need to do it. Okay? Sometimes, situations have to arise that we're not okay with because at the end of the day, we did not plan accordingly. That's a consequence. Guess what? I've had to face the music at times from bad decisions, from procrastinating. And then you know what I learned? Not to procrastinate and to take more time before I make a decision so that I don't make a decision that's going to impact my finances in a negative way or impact a job or impact whatever in a negative way. So I take the time to sit down and strategize. It's a much better use of your time if you sit down and you plan, what am I going to do this week? Why do I need to get this done? How does this fit into the big picture? We were talking for weeks in January about planning and lists and strategizing and all of that stuff. Now we're talking about, I don't have time, question mark, air quotes, because at the end of the day, you do have time. I guarantee you, if you sit down and you mark what it is that you're doing, if you take a look at your Google Calendar or whatever calendar that you keep, and if you don't keep a calendar, that's number one issue. You need a calendar. If it's a planner that you write in, because some people like to just still do that, writing down things, that's fine. I am not mad at you. I can't do that. I have to have all my stuff in my calendars because I got about 4 of them. And when I put my stuff in my calendars, I see what I'm doing. I see where I'm working with. And then I realize, wow, I have no nights scheduled to be with my family, or I have no days scheduled to go to the gym, or I have no time scheduled for myself. That's a problem. Because I know that if I don't pay attention to the things that are most important to me and valuable to me, like taking care of myself, like spending time with my family, then I am not going to be productive. I'm not going to be able to maximize on what my capacity is to do what I need to do. I also know that if I get burnt down or overwhelmed, that I am not productive and I'm not effective. So this is why I wanted to ask you the question. Why are you allowing things to be prioritized that are not a priority? I mentioned that sometimes we let other people come into our space and they set the schedule for us and the agenda for the day because their problems become our problems, and their concerns become our concerns. Their needs become our needs. I caught a bus when I didn't have a car. Some of us don't want to let nobody catch a bus because we feel like we got to be the one transporting them all over the place. Sometimes people need to catch a bus because when they catch the bus, now they're going to understand the importance and the value of paying car insurance, of paying a car note, all of those things, because it's an inconvenience depending on where you live. Now, some of y'all listening might live in a city where it's much easier to catch public transportation, so that may not resonate with you. But I say that to say, and I'm talking to myself because I do it with my kids. Like, oh, they don't got to catch the bus. I'll drop them off. No, let them catch the bus. You know how much less stress I had when I started letting my kids catch the bus? Get up 15 minutes earlier and get on the bus and go to school. I don't need to drop you off. Why am I dropping you off? And I worked all day and I'm tired and I'm going to get up early before I get up to go to work. I'm going to get up to go drop you off to school when there's a bus that comes right by the house. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not doing it no more. But I used to do it, and I used to convince myself I was doing it to spend time with them. I used to make up all kind of excuses, and I know I'm talking to somebody because you do the same thing, making up excuses for why you got to do stuff for people that they need to be doing for themselves, because what you're doing is you're missing a very important element. You became who you are because you did the thing. And now you're taking away the opportunity to learn and grow from somebody that you love because you want to cover them and protect them. And now they're not going to develop and learn what it takes to do whatever. Now, I'm not saying let your kids be in a dangerous situation, but what I am saying is let them find their way, because sometimes they need to find their way. Now, I don't know who that's for. I just said that was not what I planned to talk about. But what I did want to say before I move off of this, because time is getting ready to wrap up, is that we say we don't have time. We say we don't have time. And if I go back to that first question that I asked, are you being a good steward of your time? Sometimes we spend time doing absolutely nothing productive. Binge watching TV, and why are we binge watching TV? You know, I had that conversation with my husband before. He was like, well, you sitting around here watching, you know, I have my shows that I like. I like to watch SWAT. I used to watch The Good Doctor. You know, I watched the final episode recently. There's certain shows that I like to watch, right? Clean shows, whatever, because it is so hard to find good, clean shows these days. But I like to watch shows where there's not a lot of cursing and stuff like that. And when I sometimes, or Marvel movies, things like that, things that are just, you know, exciting, you know, just get your mind off stuff. And that would be why I would binge watch sometimes, was because I was so tired and exhausted mentally that I just felt like I wanted to just sit around and do nothing, do absolutely nothing. You know why I want to do absolutely nothing? Because I am tired. Now, that is not a good reason to be sitting around binge watching. Now, if I'm on vacation, that's different, but I'm not on vacation and I'm binge watching. That is a problem. So I had to get to the root to it. This is why I'm asking you, why are you doing? What are you doing? Are you being a good steward of your time? Because if you're not, there's an underlying cause. One of the books that I love to read and I love to share with many of the parents, families, and even business owners that I work with is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective Individuals. There's one for teens, there's one for families. And the reason why I like that is because they talk very intently on how to prioritize and have good use, make good use of your time. And one of the things they talk about in that book are time quadrants. When there's certain things that are urgent that you need to do immediately, there's some things that are not urgent, but you think it's immediate and you need to do it and prioritize and you should not. Or there's things that are not urgent and not a priority, right? So you get to look at what it is that you're doing. Let's go back a second, about 2 minutes ago, when I was talking about your calendar. And one of the things that I was bringing that up for was for you to look at your calendar and see, what am I doing with my day? Mark it. Like every 30 minutes or so, set a timer. What did you just do for the last 30 minutes or the last hour? Realistically, did you just spend 35 minutes on social media watching videos? Because it is very addictive. Yes, you will start watching one. Next thing you know, you on there for 45 minutes. You got absolutely nothing done. Did you just get into an argument with somebody that you love because they nitpicked you and you just had to share what you had to say or just had to set them straight? Did you oversleep because you didn't go to sleep early enough because you was up binge watching TV or partying or whatever it was that you did that you know you really ain't had no business doing because it's a work night or school night, and here you are, now you're tired, now your day's late, now you're not functioning correctly, now you're wasting time because you're trying to catch naps when you should be studying, right? All of those things start to pile up because we're not being good stewards of our time. So the moral of this conversation today is that you do have time. You have the same amount of time that I have. You have the same amount of time that your neighbor has, the same amount of time that Bill Gates has. You got the same time. What are you doing with the time? There is a reason why 20% of business owners who start will be the ones that succeed and 80% will not. There's a reason. It's because most of us don't make good use of our time. I'm not telling you something that I don't know or haven't experienced. I'm telling you what I know, what I experience, how intentional it has to be to set the time to prepare, to strategize, to do whatever elements are necessary for your goals. And this could be on a personal level, on a business level, on a career pathway level. You have to make time, break it down, and have it be intentional for whatever amount of space that you need it to be. For resting, for whatever it is, eating, whatever it is, you got to be able to plan it to that T. So be a good steward the same way that you budget or should budget your finances. Because I say should because most of us don't budget like we should either. That's another conversation for another day. But budget your time. Where are you spending your time? Where can you cut back? Where can you rearrange? Where can you strategize? How to really take your time and maximize it. So that is all for today, folks. I got pulled into a direction I didn't mean to get pulled into, but I believe it was because somebody who was listening needed to hear that. If that's you, just message me and let me know. Let me know you're out there and that I said something that was helpful to you. Don't forget, like I said earlier, that there is a book, as a matter of fact. When you look into the streams, sometimes these are you're in a mirror reflection. So you want to make sure you go the right way. So I'm mastering this, y'all. Mission Rich and Profit Powered book. You want to go to missionrichandprofitpowered.com if you want to order a signed copy of the book. And also, don't forget to hit me up on social media, y'all. I am on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and I'm actually on TikTok too. So I might even be on YouTube. Who knows? No, sir, I am. So check me out, y'all, and you have a wonderful rest of your day. God bless you.